you prefer, sir.
Yeah, we could talk about the Septuagint. So what was it? Was it 250, 255 before the Common Era? The Ptolemies petitioned a translation of the 5 books of Moses into Greek. So they took 70 scholars, put them in different rooms, Jewish scholars, to translate the 5 books of Moses. The legend is that they ended their translation with identical copies, right? It was supposedly this miraculous thing. That is what the Septuagint was. Once they translated the whole Tanakh into Greek, they started calling the whole Tanakh the Septuagint, but the Septuagint is just the 5 books of Moses. How does that differ from the Masoretic text? So the Masoretic text, also known as the Aleppo Codex, was made famous in the Jewish world as the standard to make Torah scrolls from because of Maimonides. Maimonides says that it's the most accurate version. I mean, it's called the Masoretic text, not that it was written at the time of the Masoretes, but Masoretic means from the Masorah. They held the tradition of having the most accurate version of, in that case, Tanakh. It wasn't just the 5 books of Moses. And that's what we follow nowadays. But there were other texts that really didn't differ in any laws, but they may have had an extra word here, minus a letter there. Yes, nowadays, Torah scrolls are written off this standard known as a Masoretic text. We have older versions, or at least fragments of them, in the Dead Sea Scrolls. For sure, in the prophets, there's differences in let's say in the book of Isaiah that appear in the Dead Sea Scrolls in the book of Isaiah we have nowadays, there's differences. I don't know if that answers your question.
I'd like to add that the
I
Masoretes added the Nikudot system with the vowels in Hebrew.
Yeah.
So after the fall of Jerusalem, 70 AD, what was left to make the Masoretic text from?
From Jerusalem, the scholars in Jerusalem, the members of the Great Court, which would have been responsible for sanctioning any standards of writing Torah scrolls, they moved over to Yavne, and there was a vibrant community in the north, and scholarship still existed in the land of Israel till at least 135 of the Common Era, where the Jews were expelled fully, although Jews always lived in the land of Israel.
So there were scrolls. There was a Septuagint outside of Jerusalem, so not every copy of the Septuagint burned in 70 AD. There was another location where they had a Septuagint up until 135, the Bar Hakva revolt.
I don't know where you're reading that the temple was a place where they held scrolls, because it doesn't say that anywhere. There was a commandment on every
Also, the Dead Sea
write a
Scrolls.
Torah scroll for themselves. The temple could have been burned down. As a matter of fact, even at that time, the vast majority of Jews lived outside of the land. There was probably a larger religious community in Alexandria, Egypt, than there was in Israel. Every synagogue had a copy of the Torah and the prophets.
So when was everything combined back again? Would that be if every different village has a Torah, do you think they're all 100% correct? They match each other 100%? And then the Masoretic text, when was that, like 800 or 1000 AD?
The Masoretic text is one rendition to combine all the Hebrew scriptures in one with Nekudot, which is the vowel points. I would say that virtually every Torah scroll, with the exception of the Samaritan Torah scroll, has all the commandments intact. The Samaritans add an extra law. I believe there's only one law, that we should worship on Mount Gerizim. So only because you may have a Torah scroll in one community that has an extra letter or possibly an extra word, it doesn't change the command in that Torah, which is what makes the Torah exceptional. Not that every Torah has to match verbatim, but in terms of the concepts have to match. Torah means instructions. As long as the instructions are intact, then it could still stand as an exceptional work of ethics.
Okay, thank you for explaining me that. I'll sit here on silent. The next person can.